Hey everyone, today I have a 2014 F-150 XLT, and today I found out that the rear window stopped working, and is what it is the track, the slide, the tab broke off, and so it's right here, this little piece, it broke off, and so the window stopped working. So I went ahead and looked it up on the F-150 forums and found an article about it and how to replace it, and that's what I'm working on today. Is I'm going to replace the track without removing the whole window. So I've already started on it, and first thing I did was I folded down the rear seats. You see they're already folded down, and they have these little mechanisms right here. You just got to reach behind the seat over the headrest and pull them up, and the seats will flip down, one for each side. But also take note, the little pins right here, don't move those once you lay the seat down, because they're a pain in the butt to get lined back up. So now you can see I've already moved the interior panel, and the way you do that is there's these clips right here. There's 3 up top, but you gotta look down in the bottom corner. There's 2 in the bottom corner, one right there and then another one right there, and they actually go through the plastic side panel down here in the corner. So you got to pull one of those out on each side as well, and then the panel, you can just pull it out from behind here. Just pull it out, it'll come out. So now I got the panel off, and I've seen that when it broke, I didn't realize what was going on, and I operated the window a few times, and you can see that the cables came out of the holders. They go in there. So is what I have to do now is when I replace this window, I also have to readjust or try to get those tracks back in sync, the cables. So I got the panel off, and then once you get the panel off, above the window behind here, there's a guide strip like this. You just grab it with a pair of needle nose and just slide the window all the way open, and then grab it on the opposite end up here and just slide it out. Once that's slid out, your window moves around freely, but it won't come out because of the seatbelt post right here is in the way, and it has to be ground off and cut off. So is what I did is I just took the seatbelt also for getting in and out and just put a twisty tie around it so it's out of my way. And you got to take this little cover off up here as well with a 10mm little nut. So the next thing to do is over my pointer right here, there's the cable restraint, and the cable restraint has a small screw in it. So right here, if you look very closely down inside, you see a small screw. So what I have to do is drill a hole. I got to drill a hole right here where that screw's at, and then pull that screw out, and then the cable will come out of the track. The reason you have to do that is because the window guide track has these little tabs right there on the bottom. See them hanging down like a little foot? And they slide in that track, and that's what keeps this from lifting out, and it keeps it in guide going back and forth. So that's what I'm working on. I don't make much of these videos, but I hope this helps somebody. Yeah, so I guess I'll get started on drilling that hole over there, and I'll show you that when I get done with it, because I'm just by myself. So I'll drill that hole and I'll pull that screw out. Then I can move that cable restraint out of the way, and then I should be able to take this guide and lift it up and slide it out. All right. Okay, so I got my hole drilled right there, and I got the screw out, and I was afraid of drilling into the screw head, so I drilled a hole through the first layer, and then started on the second, because there's 2 layers back here, and then I used the ball file and just grounded it down until it popped through. But I still managed to hit the screw head. I drilled a little bit on it. A little hard to see to get it to focus, but there was still enough bite on the head to get it out with a screwdriver. Once you get it out with the screwdriver, that piece right there, is what you got to do is grab the cable and slide it back. Might be a little stuck, but slide it back, and then it just lifts out and it's out. Once that's out, then you just grab your track. This is the broke one. Grab your track, slide it all the way back to the end, and then lift up and slide it out like so, because it's got those little feet right there on the end, and there's an opening back here where they slide in and out of. See the little groove? It's right here. So once that's good, you can slide that track out, and now I'm going to slide the new one in. They're only plastic, they're flexible, you know, so we'll see how it goes. All right. Okay guys, so here's what I had to do. I couldn't get the track in just from one side. It was too much of an angle to get into the slot. So what I did is I laid it in the tray. I put the slot in on this side, and then over on the driver's side I had to drill this hole, take the screw out of there, you slide this back and then lift up and it comes out. So you take the track, get one side in, slide it all the way across, and then drop this side in and then slide it back. In my case, with the glass window, I was able to lift it up, pull it all the way forward, and at some point it just rested on the tray, on the thing up here, and I was able to slide the guide behind it all the way down, pop it in, slide it back. Then I pick the window up and sit it in the tray just like that. So it's in the tray now, and then I put the cable restraints back in, push them in, slide them down, and then slide it in on both sides. So now they're back in place. So the next thing I got to do is put the screws back in the hole. I got the window things back in where they belong. The cables right there, and right there. They're back in the slots. I pulled the motor, the whole bracket assembly off. This whole black piece, I pulled that off and looked at the pulley, and it did not seem to be unspooled or bound up. So I got it back, and the cables, when I put everything back in place and got the cables back in where they belong, the window is about where it had broke on me, in that position right there. So I'll get them screws back in, one inside that hole, one inside that hole, remount the motor, and then turn the key on and see what happens. I did have to undo the ground wire for the rear window defrost, because when it's hooked up and when you try to take that cable lift up out of there, you don't want to break the clip back there. So undo that wire right here, undo that, and just lay it up out of the way so you don't break the clip back there in the corner. All right everybody, so I'm back today. It got dark last night and I didn't feel like messing with it anymore. This is the 2014 F-150 XLT with the rear window back here. The guide track broke. The little tip came off the end that holds the cable. So last night I got it all installed and everything, but the cables were hanging out of the motor and I didn't feel like messing with it, so I came back today to finish. And so as you see down here, the cables with the little silver springs right there, they were hanging out of the pocket. So this morning I came out and I took the 3 bolts out right there and I pulled the motor down, and back here the white piece is the motor, and then the black piece inside that little round circle is the sprocket for the cable. It's kind of like the sprocket on a weed eater head, like trying to string weed eater head. So back here there's 3 bolts on this, so take this off and it just flips down. And then these back here are Torx bits. They're T27s. So I took the motor off and I took the pulley out, and I made sure that the motor was in the full closed position. I made sure the window was in the closed position, and then that cable on the passenger side is the closed cable, and the cable over here on the driver's side is the open cable. So I made sure it was enclosed, the switch was enclosed, and I took the cable out and the pulley out of the housing right there, and I just took a guess. I didn't know how it was going to work or how it was going to happen. So I took the cable and wrapped it around the pulley, and the other one I made sure was only, the cable has a little end tip on it, so they lock in place. You'll see it if you have to do it. You're definitely gonna need 2 sets of hands though. So I wrapped the closed cable around the pulley and pulled all the slack out, and then the open cable, I just made sure that it was extended all the way out. The grooves in the pulley, the cables share the same slots. So as the pulley's spinning, one cable is unwinding from one side, and then the other cable is winding up from the opposite side using the same tracks. All right. So I got it all back in place, put it all back together, I have to take, you're going to have to take one of these cables out, because you see both of these springs are tight. So you got to take it out. I ended up taking the screw out, pulling this back out so I could get some extra slack, because once that's all spooled up and put back in place, you have no room to do that. So you have to pull that out, give it some slack, put that back together, and then it's kind of hard, but then you have to put that piece back in. This right here, this piece that the cable runs through, the anchor, I guess you can call it, and then put the screw back in the hole. One of the things I wasn't paying attention to was a clip right there that holds the cable in place. I broke it, so I took a piece of 40 thousandths wire, drilled a small hole, wrapped the wire around there and twisted it. It's holding in place. It's good and tight and snug. And so then I checked the window, operated the switch up there, and it works like a gem. There was another video on YouTube from I don't remember who it was. They took the window out and did everything. I didn't have to take the side panels off or anything like that. I just took this panel out and I had access to everything, and it worked. I tested it. It works great. The window fully opens, fully closes. I'm sure once you take things apart, just watch how you're taking things apart, because they go back the same way you took them apart. Okay? So I hope this video helps you. I couldn't find any videos online on how to do this. So I hope this video really helps you all out. Thank you, and have a nice day.